Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Homeschool Minnesota. My name is Dayle Annand. Glad to have you guys with us today. Homeschool Minnesota is brought to you by MÂCHÉ, Minnesota Association of Christian Home Educators. We're so glad that you guys are here. So, one of the things that we like to do is bring you resources, things that would help you to be able to teach your kids more effectively. Teaching your child to read, spell, and write is one of the biggest hurdles in homeschooling. And parents often are very intimidated by how to do this well and what resources do I have and what if my child is struggling, all the things. Today, I got you. Today, we are talking to Melanie Jeffrey from Phonics Rules for Kids. She is going to talk to us about all those things. Hopefully, I'll ask the right questions. If not, I'm going to leave all the information in the description of this podcast. You can get a hold of her afterwards and ask her any question that I forgot to ask and talk with her about all of that. Thank you for coming, Melanie. We appreciate you. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Dayle. It is a pleasure to join you today on your podcast from Homeschool Minnesota.
Yeah, you have your own podcast, correct?
Yes, my podcast is Phonics Rules for Kids, and I help homeschool moms teach their kiddos to read by confidently modeling simple phonics skills at home. So I break it down in easy, digestible bits for mamas teaching their kiddos to read at home.
I love it. And every episode, just in case you guys all know, she's not as long-winded as I am. Hers are about roughly 15 minutes ish, give or take a little bit. So quick and easy. You could, find something that you're struggling with, probably on her podcast and listen to it before you teach that lesson that day, which is great. But first, I just want Melanie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are and where you're from and all of that?
Absolutely. Thanks, Dale. So my name is Melanie Jeffrey, as Dale mentioned, host of the Phonics Rules for Kids podcast. I am a woman who loves the Lord. I am wife to Bill, mom to three incredible kiddos, and former full-time Ontario kindergarten through third grade core literacy teacher, formerly trained in phonics instruction for children ages 4 through 9. So as an online business owner currently and phonics coach, now I help homeschool moms teach their kiddos to read at home using simple phonics skills as part of my printable kindergarten phonics curriculum.
That's so good. What caused you to start wanting to work with families and with phonics and early reading?
That's a great question, Dale. Thanks for asking. So I guess I reached a point in my teaching journey. I'll just give you the long version.
Yeah, do
We'll
it.
give you the background. Yeah, so I loved what I did at school. I loved getting up and driving to work each day, and I was so excited for my first teaching position and all that I was learning and being able to help these kiddos learn to read. And I also enjoyed the connection with the families. I enjoyed communicating with families. I loved Meet the Teacher night. Was frequent with parent communication. I really enjoyed that part, encouraging parents and also, connecting when there's something that we needed to discuss. So I guess midlife hit Melanie Jeffrey as a Christian mom and woman. And I guess the daily grind of getting up and leaving my home every day was just becoming less and less appealing. And I thought, wow, what can I accomplish if I was home? What could I
Mhm.
accomplish here? Perhaps I could be healthier. Perhaps I could have time to read my Bible without the morning rush. I could spend 5 minutes, in the morning, have a cup of coffee with my husband, and just not feel so rushed. And my husband and we farm, and so I was, often outside after school, helping him do jobs around the farmyard, helping to actually feed the calves in the huts, and I really enjoyed that, Dale. And I thought, wow, if I could do more of this and a little bit less of driving away from home every day, what could that accomplish? And so I came across a Christian woman who helped other Christian women begin their podcast. And never in my teaching career did I think I would become a podcaster. But if this work helps me be able to work from home and also to help other moms teach their kiddos to read at the same time, I thought that is a win-win. And I have a heart for homeschool moms there because I realized that for some moms, depending on their district, depending on their situation, that it no longer feels like a choice not to homeschool their kiddos. So congratulations for making that courageous choice, mamas, for deciding to homeschool. Now the arduous task of teaching your child to read, falls squarely in your lap. And you may be thinking, but I'm not trained as a teacher. Where do I even start? Am I even doing this right? And if it doesn't seem to be clicking for your child, you can really begin to have that niggling worry in the back of your mind. Well, the goal for, your child, especially in homeschool, is to be able to become an independent learner. You're going to really work with them closely one-on-one in those early years, which is so important. But then in the junior intermediate years, they're going to, veer off to topics that they're interested in reading about. And I
Right.
think the goal is to set them up for reading success.
Can you tell us a little bit about the importance of the early years of education? Like, I know sometimes we tend to go, "Oh, kindergarten is just a really great time for them to learn how to get along with others and all those things." But there is an importance to teaching things like phonics and letters and sounds and all those things. That reading in the early years is important. Can you explain to us a little bit about this, maybe the mentality behind that or the science, I guess, behind it?
Yes, and some of your moms may have heard the buzzword, the science of reading. That's been a big buzzword as of late, but there is a lot of truth to it. So phonics is nothing new. Phonics is simply sound symbol relationships between letters in the alphabet. And of course, that's where we would start is with the alphabetic principle where B spells book, C spells that one-to-one correspondence between letters and sounds. And then towards the end of kindergarten, typically you would get into the most basic digraphs. And you're thinking, digraphs, Melanie? What is a digraph? So a digraph simply means di means two, graph means letter or symbol. So it is a symbol that represents one sound made with two letters. So the simplest is like SH spells CH spells sh. But the importance of phonics in kindergarten is vital. I know a lot of homeschool moms say that there is a window and your child, teach your child to read, begin noticing signs for when your child shows an interest in letters, for when they show an interest in, Mom, what does that say? How do I spell my name? Or they're playing with the magnetic letters on the fridge. So when your child is showing an interest in reading, then that's a really great time to hook them and bring them in and teach them the letter sounds. And some moms are like, well, they're not really interested in reading until, 7 or 8. They weren't really interested. Well, I'm going to say, pre-K ages 3, 4, and into age 5, just do play-based learning. You can have the alphabet letters on the fridge. You can have a sensory bin full of like ping pong balls and have the letter names written on, scoop a ping pong ball out of the bin like we would do in kindergarten. Oh, what does this letter say? P spells great job, kiddo. But I would say by the time your child is age 5, then we really need to be intentional about teaching them sound symbol relationships so that they can read their very first words. And it is very exciting for them. So the very first words, that we would teach are called CBC words. And that simply means consonant, vowel, consonant. So think of the words pig, dog, cat, dig, fat. It starts with a consonant, has a short vowel in the middle, and the letter A is the first short vowel that we would teach, and then it ends with a consonant. And kids get very, very excited when they can read these words. And 5-year-olds, barring any cognitive challenges or any learning disabilities or disorders they may have, are often very excited to read these words and should start reading those simple CBC words.
That's so good. What happens, Melanie, when they don't? When do you know as a parent it's time to get some intervention? That's a big question because you don't want to jump the gun and be like so concerned because they're not, fluently reading at such a because each kid is a little bit different and goes
Mhm.
about it in their own way and you want to work with them. That's what homeschooling is about is not necessarily pushing something on your child, but to kind of follow their lead a little bit, but also to know when is that fine line of, I think I need to do a little more intervention here and help. What would that look like?
So what a great question, Dale. Most children are going to be able to look at the word pat and go, ah, pat, and read it. Typically, where we see a child struggling more is when we add the fourth sound into a word. For example, the word flip, FLIP. And there's something that we call sound awareness, and the teacher
Melanie? not to interrupt real quick, but for some reason your sound went completely out.
Oh,
Now it's back.
is that better? Is it
That's
okay now?
100% better. Yeah,
Okay, I'm really glad. So it must be me. I'm sorry about that, Dale.
that's
Not
okay.
sure what's over here. We're good?
We can go back to just talking about flip.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So more often where moms and dads are going to notice that your child may require some reading intervention or something that you're teaching is not clicking and you have the intuition that this should be sticking by now and it's not. My child should be able to read that word and it's not sticking. So we start with sound awareness. So this is without pen to paper. This is something we can try, and this is something moms and dads can try. So for the word flip, if I'm going to ask my child to chop apart the sounds in the word flip, the word FLIP, then I'm going to say, okay, chop it apart. The word is flip. And I would expect my child to be able to go, oh, eh. If my child instead is separating that word and segmenting those sounds as if, well, like the word fill, and they're doing that consistently, flipping the position of a sound, then we know that we have some work to do and that we need to do more phonemic awareness, that sound awareness, segmenting letters and sounds. Because Dale, if a child is struggling to orally segment the sounds in the word flip, then how can they spell that word with accuracy?
Yeah.
So that's when a parent might notice, we have been drilling and working on this skill, and my child knows their letters and sounds. They can rhyme off these spells, but it's when they go to blend the sounds or to segment the sounds in the word to spell. If that is a struggle and those skills are not sticking, then it may be time to seek some outside help.
Okay. So one of the outside help things that they can go to is your website, Phonics for Kids. I'm sorry, I've got the website wrong all of a sudden. I've got it on my
How?
phone right here. I got it right here. Phonics Rules for Kids. Just forgot the rules
Yes.
part. I generally forget the rules. That's just who I am. But anyway, Phonics Rules for Kids, and they can log on and there's so much information, you guys. This website, I mean, there's everything you need is there. Worksheets and all. I mean, so many things. But we'll talk about the worksheet thing in a minute because I like your approach on that. But one of the things that they can sign up for is a 1 hour Zoom call with you to kind of go
Yes.
through things. Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like and what that would entail? And yeah, just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, exactly. So my 1 hour Zoom call, I go over simple phonics skills for moms. So this is like phonics 101. And moms, no shade over there. Like even trained teachers had training in phonics. They were taught somewhere along the way how to teach phonics
Yeah.
to 4 to 8-year-olds. They were taught these simple phonics skills and drills to lead children through so that they would be able to read with fluency. So we will go over phonemic awareness, sound awareness, and kids love this because they get their little hand choppers. I don't, you can see my
Yep.
hands if you're seeing the video. So ah, and they've got those three sounds. And as parents, we can say the sounds individually. Ah, what's the word, kiddo? Chop. And they swipe it apart. And that's even an activity that you could do in the car, something informal and fun. And then we talk about the look and say drill. We talk about that quick recall, the automaticity of letter sounds and letter symbols. And one of my favorite activities to share with parents is word chains. So word chains, and kids love these because they're very, very quick. I say you should be able to teach phonics in 17 minutes a day or less. Let's
Yep.
not drag this because your kiddo is going to be swinging their feet under the kitchen table and they're going to be ready to move on anyways. So word chain is where you begin with one word. Let's say our word is bat. Okay, this is where it gets fun. Change a sound in bat, spell cat, and your child writes the word cat. Or if fine motor skills are a problem, use magnetic letters as long as your child can show you what they know. Change a sound in cat, spell mat. And then we can add sounds. Add a sound to mat, spell mats. Change a sound in mats, spell chats. And you can see how quickly you're asking your child. They don't know this. They're having fun. They're just
Yeah.
working with sounds and writing words, and they're meeting the challenge that you're asking them to meet, and they're having a lot of fun. But you have really asked your child to manipulate, write several letters and sounds in a very short amount of time and have them read them back to you. So, what great practice those word chains are for simple spelling of words and simple decoding and reading. So
Yeah.
that's something we share with moms during our 1 hour coaching call. And it's just great to connect. Like I am low key and I'm an introvert myself. So don't let
Mm.
that stop you, friend. Like come and we'll hop in a call and I'm pretty low key. I'm very friendly, approachable, and I want to help. So
Yeah.
that's what I offer parents in my 1 hour coaching call.
That's so good. Get a chance to kind of get some new skills under your belt and ask questions of somebody who's done this for years. So that's a good thing.
Yes.
Can you tell us about your approach? I was on your website looking around and you have like worksheets and things like that that they can download, but you are very big into do not use a lot of worksheets. Your thing is
Mhm.
like, let's save your printer. Let's save, the planet, and the trees and the whole thing. Let's just not. Tell us about your approach and why. What do you do? Because very phonics based. There's entire workbooks on it, and you just worksheet after worksheet after worksheet for these little ones. And so tell us a little bit about what your approach is and what that looks like.
Mhm. Yeah. So worksheets have a place, right? Lots of worksheets do have a place, but I use them for early finisher activities. That's where I would use the worksheet. I've done my phonics lesson for the day. I need to go work with my other child. Okay, here's some, you can go and do these tracing pages. Have at it. But I really need moms and dads to be intentional and spend like that 17 minutes or less focused on actually leading your child through the phonics skills. That is how your child is going to learn to read, not worksheet after worksheet, not flashcard after flashcard, not memorizing hundreds of sight words. It's them manipulating letters and sounds and you leading them through a skill. So worksheets do have a place, but please save those as the early finisher activity, as sort of the busy work while you work with your other kiddo over here. Um, that's my approach on worksheets. And as I said, I think you should be able to teach and lead your child through a phonics lesson in 17 minutes or less per day. You should be able to teach your child to read in 17 minutes or less per day. Um, so I don't rely on tons and tons of worksheets.
Yeah, I love that. I also think it's really, really important to remember that for younger kids, keeping those lessons short but repetitive is really the key too. Is that if you're planning on your child spending an hour on language arts at the age of 6, that's going to be a day. That's just too much. They shouldn't, as far as like sitting down and doing an actual curriculum. Um, so you also have like you do a reading tutor. You're a reading tutor as well for families that have kids who are struggling with their reading. Um, so what do they expect in that kind of a environment from your website?
Yes. So I also offer reading tutoring for families. And I'm kid friendly over here. I like to offer 25-minute sessions because 25 minutes of focused time and your child is really focused during that time, reading,
Yeah.
writing, spelling, telling me a sound, writing the letter, dragging up the magnetic letter, doing their little chopping of the sounds apart or blending of sounds for the sound awareness drill. They need a break. And if I notice that your child needs a break in between, let's give them 20 seconds, get up, kiddo, hop on the spot, go hug the dog, go get a sip of water, and then come on back. So I make sure that your child is focused and ready to learn, and we make the best use of that 25 minutes. And if they truly need a break, let's take a break. I have those built in. But I will, before we begin phonics instruction, the first of those 7 sessions, I have get started in 7 because maybe you don't want tutoring to last all year, but maybe you just need help getting started. Maybe you just need help establishing a phonics routine at home. So I'm happy to help with that. And mom and dad, you can listen in while we're doing this session. You can hear what we're doing together. And I think that's valuable as well. So happy to help out
Yeah,
as your child's tutor if that's something that you feel is right for your family.
I love that. Well, I'm just really excited. So now you also have a podcast. Your podcast, like I said, is small little segments. It's 15 minutes ish. For moms to just jump on and get like, oh, I never thought of teaching it that way. Maybe that would be a way that my son or daughter would really understand this concept. There's so many things, moms and dads who are homeschooling. We have a lot of homeschooling dads. There's so many things that you can do it doesn't have to be, well, everybody uses this, so I'm going to use this. That may not work for your child, and every child is different. Maybe it worked for your first three, but your last two, it's not working for. What do you do? We have to be able to work within that. So even just jumping on your podcast and getting ideas of different ways to teach things in a different manner, or ideas or thoughts, or maybe even like the science behind it a little bit of like, oh, I guess I just never thought of that being something that I needed to really approach it in a different way or whatever. I feel like that's really important for parents to know. Where can we find your podcast and your website? I'll have it all linked here, but tell us about where you can find your podcast and things.
Yeah, the best way to find me online is through the podcast. It's Phonics Rules for Kids. And when it comes to teaching your child to read, Phonics Rules, no pun intended. And that's on Apple, Spotify, anywhere where podcasts can be found. And another great way to find me is on my website, phonicsrulesforkids.com. And there I have a little guide for parents, it's actually a quiz. Can your child read this? And it gives you, as the parent, a quiz to go through, and you can have your child read a page of sentences, and it goes in progressive order of phonics skills. And when it starts to get a little tricky, then you'll have an idea of where you should start with your next phonics lesson, the specific skill. Yeah.
So good. Thank you so much, Melanie, for being on today. I really appreciate it. Just so everybody knows, a reminder for my regular listeners, we definitely, in the show notes of this podcast, there will be all the links that you need to know to be able to find Melanie. If this is something that is beneficial to you, take advantage of it. Get signed up, figure out, you've got Phonics 101 as well, that you homeschool Phonics 101 that you do. All these different things. Get a hold of Melanie. She's got you when it comes to early reading and issues with maybe struggling readers, phonics, all those things. She's got all of that over there in her podcast and on her website. But we just want to thank you guys for being with us. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And we will see you next time. Thanks so much, Melanie.
Well, thank you, Dayle. It's been a pleasure to be joining you on Homeschool Minnesota today.
Thank you. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.